My name is Zac Johnson. I was actually born at Duke Hospital, but raised out in Hillsborough, North Carolina, right by Maple View Farms. And I'm running to be the next Executive Vice President of Duke Student Government. There are kind of two parts of my platform, the first of which being all the project stuff, but that stuff will kind of go on regardless of whether or not I'm in this Executive Vice President role, although I do think it would give me a specific space within DSG to make sure that those projects are completed. I would say that my largest goal for the EVP role would to be really take on a critical analysis of our internal documents and our internal structures to make sure that DSG is structured into communication with the student body. We kind of fundamentally lack that right now, and DSG has been called out for that on several times. But I think that through sort of a recreation or reimagination of some of our internal documents, we can not only set a precedent and a framework for the EVP, consulting with student groups, engaging with listening tours, inviting student groups to join Senate, but also sort of creating a framework within DSG that allows for those students to be fundamentally involved from day one, not sort of leaving it up to individual members of exec to go out and do all this work, So we want to I want to make sure that DSG has the structure it needs to be engaged with the student body. Yeah, so honestly, I would say one of my biggest accomplishments is working on this project baby of mine that I started my first year called the Being Not Rich at Duke Guide. So basically the guide we were inspired by the University of Michigan, which started a guide. Theirs is now maybe 100 some pages long or something crazy. But it's been worked on over the years, and we intended to sort of create a similar platform for Duke students to use. So a few other senators and I got together to work on this project. Kate Boncaro and Stephen Herrera. And then sort of over the years, we've taken on new people, built sort of a coalition of students who have really engaged with the lower income or low income experience and who have the time and capacity to share their experiences in a document. The document is now almost 40 pages. We've been working on it for a long time, and obviously with the pandemic, it can be really difficult to make sure that students who are already spread thin have the time and availability and mental capacity to engage with that kind of work. But the intended purpose of the document is so that students can really get a sense of, before even they come to Duke or even while they're at Duke, finding information on how much money you actually need to bring, what school supplies you need, how to navigate social life where everybody else has money around you. And so yeah, we've been working on this document for a handful of years now, and now we're looking to get it published this year. And sort of building that coalition as well as getting all of that information down has been a huge accomplishment of mine. And I'm really excited to see the way that it is published throughout the semester. We're hoping to make sure that it gets into the electronic blue book, but also that it's accessible to all students, not just incoming first years. I resonate with a lot of the sentiments that the student body have expressed regarding DSG. I agree that we're disconnected with the student body and that we have a hard time listening. And like I've mentioned, our structure is not really set up so that students can have a voice in DSG. One of the things that has really troubled me over the years is it sort of operates as a top-down project work approach rather than a bottom-up. So we kind of will wait around for administrators to say, oh, well, it's time for this project to happen. If people want to work on it, let's do it. And that has really bothered me because, they don't share the same student experience that we do. And I've really advocated for a way more bottom-up approach to working on project work. Obviously, it can be difficult to just start a project if administrators, are completely unwilling to hear about it. But I think it's very important for the student government to be focused on the student experience and not just when administrators are willing to hear it. So I can actually give an example about that. Last year, when Secretary of Education Betsy DeVos issued that scathing report about the consortium between UNC and Duke on Middle Eastern affairs, I and another senator drafted a resolution basically decrying the hatred that they expressed in that sort of report at Duke and UNC. And we were met with a lot of backlash within DSG actually at first, not because that people disagreed with it, but they felt that it needed to come from an administrative okay first. Even though these resolutions would be going to the administrators, this actually kicked off a very long debate within DSG about how we want to go about using our resolutions, whether we want to make sure that they come from the student body and the student demands and like what students want and don't want, or whether or not it's just administrators are ready to hear that kind of stuff. So I basically since then have routinely advocated that we use our resolutions to be something that represents what the student wants, not just something that administrators want to hear. Honestly, you know, I guess I would say my favorite spot, especially when it's nice out, is the gardens. Sitting on the field, like I am a huge outdoor person, so I try to spend as much time outside as possible. And especially on a nice day like this, like I'll get out of class and just head straight to the gardens and just sit in the field or on a bench or something and just, you know, tap away at my computer, or at least just try to bask in the sun. For that reason, I wish more students sat on the quad. It's actually like one of the most beautiful quads I think that has ever been manufactured. So I also really enjoy sitting in there. But on a rainy day, Fondi. It's a great place to, like, I don't know, intersect with a lot of people that are also working, but also people who are down to take breaks with you if you're feeling a little burnt out, which can often be the case.